Hey, Lambs. Look, I was writing one of my articles. I write true crime articles, and this article is so outlandish, so crazy, such something you can't even fathom. I would as much true crime as I do, I would have never thought this possible. I would have never dreamed this up. That's how crazy this case is, and I just had to stop everything I was doing and record this episode for you. I'm even holding my mic. I never hold my mic. And I'm on the phone with my husband. So he's on this episode with you too. So you'll be able to hear him on the phone. Say hi, husband. Say hi to the lambs.
Hi to the lamb.
Editing Kai here. Sorry, my husband's voice was really, really low because he was on the phone. So I'm going to try and fix it, but you're probably going to hear inconsistencies in the volume. I tried to amplify his voice, but we'll see how it turns out. And for the public lambs, if you actually want to hear my husband's commentary, then you can join the Patreon at the $3 tier and above. Other than that, I've just put out my commentary on this case. All right, back to the show. So anyways, I'm going to read this while I'm on the phone with him, and more than likely he's going to react to it. So let me tell you the title of this case. All right. 66-year-old sex offender Groom arrested before wedding to pregnant 22-year-old deemed incompetent. That's just the headline. That's just the highlight. So let's get into it. On Tuesday, March 17th, 2026, at the LaPorte County Courthouse in Indiana, 66-year-old Bradley D. Armstrong showed up ready to get married. Before the wedding could even begin, Sergeant Swanson and Deputy Ryan from the LaPorte County Sheriff's Office walked in and stopped it. The groom was arrested. The sheriff's office later described it as being like something straight out of the Wedding Crashers film, saying the two deputies, quote, crashed an about-to-be wedding ceremony earlier today at the LaPorte County Courthouse and arrested the groom. Bradley was arrested because of what investigators said that he put, or actually what he didn't put, on his marriage license application. When he was arrested, he was charged with providing false information on the marriage license, a level 6 felony, after failing to disclose that he is a sexually violent predator on the state registry. Now, to understand this situation, we have to go back some years. Back in May 2002, Bradley was convicted of child molesting. Now, did you hear that it said violent sexual predator? And he was convicted of child molesting. They didn't say what happened. They didn't say how old the child was. That's all I know. He received a 7-year suspended sentence and 7 years of probation, eventually being released from custody in March 2004. That means he only spent 2 years in jail for violent sex offending of a child. So, because of the nature of his crime, he was placed on the sex and violent offender registry for life. Now, I don't know why they're not disclosing his crime, because it's not like they're telling the child's name or anything like that, but they're telling how depraved this man is. They should be saying everything while also leaving the victims out of it. You know what I'm saying? But for him, I don't know why they're keeping this private. The woman he was planning to marry was 22 years old, and her name has not been released. However, what is known is that she has a complex medical history. In 2021, she was officially ruled legally incompetent with a diagnosis that included autism spectrum disorder, fetal alcohol syndrome, ADHD, functional movement disorder, delayed speech, and depression. Because of that ruling, her parents were appointed as her legal guardians. To make matters worse, at the time of the attempted wedding, now sit down. If you're standing up, sit down. If you're sitting down, lay down. At the time of the attempted wedding, you ready, husband of mine? She was also reported to be 10 weeks pregnant with Bradley's child. Let me remind you, violent sex offender who molested a child. Now, I know y'all are asking the same question I was asking. How are the legal guardians allowing this to happen? And because they're allowing it to happen, apparently, and let's say allegedly, because I ain't trying to be sued, how did this even come to light? Who spilled the beans? Because clearly it wasn't the parents. So it started because of the marriage license application itself. Heather Stevens, the LaPorte County clerk, noticed what she described as, quote, a lot of red flags. Looking into it further, those red flags turned into something more concrete. Beyond Bradley's failure to disclose his criminal status, Heather pointed out that Indiana state law actually prevents a clerk from granting a marriage license to anyone who has been legally ruled incompetent. So imagine if this clerk, you know how you get somebody at the job who doesn't, let me say most people. I don't want to say somebody because it's usually you get one or two people at a job who's doing their job. A lot of people just don't do their job. So imagine if this landed on somebody else's desk and they just stamped it and let it go ahead. But she was doing her job. If somebody is deemed legally incompetent, they cannot get married. The clerk can prevent them from getting married. So concerned for the woman's safety and well-being, because now she also sees this guy is a violent sexual offender and she's ruled legally incompetent. So concerned for her safety and well-being, Heather took the unusual step of filing a motion in circuit court to prevent the couple from ever marrying. So at that point, now we have two separate problems, one criminal and one legal. On Monday, March 16th, 2026, an arrest warrant was issued for Bradley based on the false information on the application. Then the next day is when he showed up to get married and he was arrested. And then the next day, March 18th, he was out of jail after posting a cash bond that's been reported at either $750 or $755. Violent sex offender who only spent 2 out of 7 years in jail is about to possibly violate his probation, I'm guessing. Because I'm guessing if you're a violent sex offender, you're not supposed to be around children, and he got this woman pregnant. He's about to be around children. So he hasn't even been doing his bill properly, his, his probation properly. And they let him out again on $750. On Monday, March 30th, 2026, the case was heard by Judge Julianne Havens. Heather argued that the court needed to step in to protect the 22-year-old woman. She pointed to the woman's list of disabilities and her legal status as incompetent as a reason she cannot legally consent to marriage. She told the court, quote, "It is in the hands of the court. I'm confident they are going to do the right thing." Heather explained that in these specific scenarios, the court acts as the superior guardian, which means that even if the parents were to agree to the marriage, Judge Julian has the legal authority to override their decision if she believes that it's not in the woman's best interest. As of now, there hasn't been a final ruling on whether the marriage will be permanently blocked, and there hasn't been a verdict on the felony charge against Bradley either. A follow-up hearing has been scheduled for May 2026 to address the woman's guardianship and the future of the marriage request. And just a reminder, I'm just putting this out as to what the sheriff's office says. They said, despite how this look, you have to remember that, quote, arrests and criminal charges are mere accusations, and every person is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law. So first of all, or last of all, This case is still ongoing and everything said here is alleged. So what I gathered, remember that this man, Bradley D. Armstrong, is a violent registered sex offender of who? Children. He got this woman who can't talk, barely can move, who doesn't know anything that's going on really, deemed legally incompetent to get pregnant with his baby, and he's about to have a live-in child with him, married in his house, which is what he was trying to do, that nobody can now say anything about. Because she's legally incompetent, that's what was about to happen. If this was allowed to go through, yes. If the child survived, let's put it, because remember, violent. If the child survived, that's what was about to go down in this house. And her guardians, parents, was about to let this happen. And the only person that caught it was the county clerk. Somebody just doing her job. Now, like I said, this case is still ongoing, so we don't even know if the judge is going to allow it to go through. But you best believe that I'm going to keep watching this. Because what in all the fricks? This was just such a... How many of them have gone through the cracks? If it wasn't for the one clerk, how many times has this happened? You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you right now, this is not the first time. But this is the first time we're hearing about it. So how many of them have gone through the cracks? Okay, Lamb. So I'm putting this out for everybody in the Lamb community. Let me know your thoughts on this. I think I'm actually going to put this out public because this is something that needs to be told. So this is just going to be an impromptu pop-in episode that everybody needs to hear because this is freaking egregious. I was just going to put it out for the Lamb Patreon, but I think I'm putting it out for public. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And it is very important that this specific episode is shared. And like I'm going to say, this is all alleged, and this is my opinions on what's happening with this case. I'm not saying that some of the stuff that was said here is what would actually happen. This is my opinions, just based on what I read. And the case is still ongoing, so reminding you that it's still alleged. He is innocent for legal statuses until proven guilty. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for joining me. Bye.